What's good, everybody? It's your boy Server Error 405. We are here once again, the Final Four Sports Program, and I can't do this by myself. I have my friends here. You can see they're very, very excited to be here. They're just still partying from the Super Bowl, except for the other guy. But we'll start with the other guy. The other guy hates bacon but loves LeBron James. Ladies and gentlemen, Bray Dollars. What's good, man?
Uh, just chilling, man. Been a while since we last talked. Can't wait to talk about Goat James's pathway.
Yeah, we'll skip that for another episode. But anyways, next up is the man who's still partying in Philadelphia. He's had nonstop videos on social media. We got Jay. What's up, Jay?
What up, y'all? How we doing? How we doing? Super Bowl champs, baby. You can't beat it. Eagles, Eagles. So excited to get it going. Got a lot to talk about. So it's good to see everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
All right. And finally, we got my main man here who finally got a day off after working 20 straight days in a row. We got Dre. What's up, man?
What up, big dog? Super Bowl champs, fly, Eagles fly, eat a dick, everybody else.
Damn, why'd I take a stray? All right, anyway, so speaking of eating dicks. You have all the Eagles fans out there partying and celebrating, telling the Chiefs to just fucking suck on a fat one, which actually makes me happy. And the Eagles are actually one of my favorite teams now because of them destroying the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. But obviously, you guys feel very, very happy because the Eagles are your team. But let's start with Bray. What are your quick takeaways? We're not going to touch too much on the Super Bowl because that was a few weeks ago, so we were a little delayed on filming, of course. But we'll talk briefly about it. Bray, what are your takeaways? And then we can also tie that into what are you looking forward to the upcoming NFL season?
The takeaways from the Super Bowl was, I mean, it's simple. If you have the best team, money could buy, or that could be made. You should be that team that wins. But looking into next season, as a Broncos fan, we got to see where Bo Nix progresses. Can we get him some weapons? Get him some help out there. We need Bo Nix to progress, and I see Denver being a sneaky playoff team again next year.
Okay, I agree with that. I agree with that. What do you think, Dre? What are your takeaways, and what are you looking forward to in NFL?
So Super Bowl, I just want to put stats out. I don't even care about the takeaways. I just want to put stats out about my quarterback. My quarterback went 17 for 22, 221 passing yards, two passing touchdowns, one interception, 11 rushes, 72 rushing yards, and a rushing touchdown. The only player in NFL history in a single game, regular season or postseason, to post 200 yards passing, 70 yards rushing, throw for multiple touchdowns, just rush for a touchdown, completion percentage of 75, on average, 10 plus yards of a pass per attempt, and to win the game of all time. I don't want to hear no more Jalen Hurts slander after that. None.
Dre always
None.
bringing the stats. I like that. I like bringing the stats. Brady, you want to respond to any of what he said about, the slander? Because you're one of the most vocal
Uh,
guys out there about the Eagles and how much they suck. And
I mean, Hurts is still scratching the top 10. He's just getting in there narrowly, but that's for a different day.
okay, all right. Jay, what do you think about the Super Bowl briefly, and then what are you looking forward to upcoming season?
Well, yeah, I'm happy Noah brought the. I'm sorry, I'm going to call you Dre because I know him as Noah from our wrestling fan days and all
I'm
that.
trying to break it too. It's hard for me. It's hard for me.
Yeah,
That's why I kind of
I know
hesitate a
it's
little
weird.
bit.
It's
Yeah.
weird, bro.
I had the stats. Thank you. He hit those stats. He's the stat man. So I'm gonna go to the stats from the other side that don't tell the story at all. Mahomes threw for 257, 21 for 32, three touchdowns, two interceptions. I don't know when that happened because like
Fourth
I'm
quarter.
that is like yeah, it happened in one quarter. That did not tell the story at all. Once again for I think the third time now, second time in the biggest game of the year, Jalen Hurts outplayed the GOAT and the guy who everyone regards as the top guy in the league. So that says a lot. Um, Hurts silenced the doubters, man. I mean, I think you got Bray saying he's scratching top 10. He proved he's top five. You don't have to throw for 4,000 yards a year to be top five. You just have to be effective. You have to be efficient. You have to put your team in the positions to win, and you have to be a game changer when you're in the game. Here's a fact: the Eagles are 3-4 without Jalen Hurts. and they are 23-11 with him. So that should tell you really all you need to know. And the fact that he continuously goes on the biggest stage, and on the biggest stage, he plays his ass off. You really can't beat that. And you can't really say anything about that. I mean, it's how, the proof is in the pudding. It's just crazy that people get proven wrong, but still want to say they're right. It makes no sense. So
Ray, you want to respond to that?
I mean, I can't. I mean, I could think of guys better than Hurts off the top of my head. But like I said, different conversation for a different day. We'll save it.
Well, those guys are. You have to understand. I'm gonna say this really quick. The narrative is that like no other team in the league has a team at all, and the greatest team in NFL history is somehow the Eagles all of a sudden. When at the beginning of the season, everyone wanted to say that the Eagles were going to be another combustion just waiting to happen. Oh, they're just gonna collapse again. All this narrative for all this to happen, and the end result to be Jalen Hurts being the Super Bowl MVP and hoisting the Lombardi Trophy up high. I mean, the proof is in the pudding, man. You can't really argue with the numbers. You just can't.
I think this was one of the best teams in the Super Bowl history. I don't think it's like the best team. I think everything kind of came together for the Eagles this season. For the last few seasons, they've always been consistent, but then towards the end of the season, they start losing a little bit. So people will start saying, oh, they got exposed. They got exposed. They briefly said that this season, but the Eagles were just been playing like really, really well. And Barkley obviously is the main difference. But I will say that
to the defense too. I mean,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like the defense was really, really good. It's probably one of the better defenses in Super Bowl history. Not the best because they weren't better than the 2000 Ravens or like the 86 Bears or whatever.
Can I say
Yeah,
something about
yeah.
the defense?
Jump in.
At one point in the third quarter, we had a 0% blitz ratio and we had an 88% pressure ratio. We never blitzed Patrick Mahomes until the fourth quarter, and we sacked him 6 times with a strip sack.
Yeah, you guys had him shook running around the entire place. It's kind of like when you and I had this argument in Discord, Dior, when we were talking about chasing Jalen Hurts around the pocket, and you were talking about how much of a runner he is or whatever. That Patrick Mahomes, what you guys did is literally that's the example that I was trying to explain to you. Like his running plays, they were design plays. He was running for his life. You know what I'm saying? That's literally running for your life. And I was happy to see it. I wish I could I could probably watch that game on repeat over and over.
Oh yeah, I have been.
I have.
You're right.
I have.
It's great to see. I hate the Chiefs so much.
One more thing about, just really one more quick thing about Jalen Hurts. The story was, well, shut Saquon down, make Jalen Hurts win the game. He can't do it. Prove that wrong too.
He did.
All right, so we're good. And then, Dior, what do you want to say about the upcoming season? What are you looking forward to for the NFL season?
Well, the upcoming season, I mean, I'm really just looking forward to the off season and seeing how these trades play out and some of the free agency stuff. Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, Debo possibly going. And also, obviously, the drama surrounding the tush push is like absolutely crazy. Apparently, the Packers have cried to the NFL commissioners and the board and all that stuff, and they're trying to get the tush push banned again for the second time. And I think it's dumb, but I'm just curious to see how that's going to pan out.
And that's good. I'm glad you brought it up because I know we wanted to touch on that a little bit, touch on the tush a little bit. Bray, what do you think about that whole tush push thing that the Packers are bringing up? Do you think that has any type of like leeway? Do you think people are going to really get on board with that and ban it?
I mean, the first drive of the Super Bowl, they do the tush push. Chris Jones is hurt. Chris Jones gets hurt.
People get hurt.
The best defensive player on the Chiefs gets hurt. I mean, if it's gonna hurt people, we have to figure out a way around.
It's football.
Yeah.
If it's injuring people,
dude, hold up, wait. The two years ago in the Super Bowl, we did the same thing, and he didn't get hurt.
Well, I mean,
how many people have gotten legitimately hurt because of the tush push?
Chris Jones might be the only one I know.
Should you ban tackles because people get hurt during tackles?
I mean, they just had to ban the hip drop tackle.
I mean, they didn't say anything about Josh Allen when he did the tush push against the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game either.
Because they can't do it well. That's why.
All right.
That's so much for the tush push. All right. I don't think people are gonna ban it. I just think
No,
it's silly to even fucking bring it up just to.
but
It's because we perfected
it'll
88% of the time, bro.
it'll
88% of the time.
it'll just be the hot topic to talk about, and it'll fall under the radar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to see Bo Nick start doing it. I just want him just to get behind, just
I
go
mean,
for
he's
it.
He's
got
got
the
to get a.
he's got
He's
the
got to have
body
an
for it.
offensive line first.
Shouts
Yeah,
out to both. He's gonna be a guy, man. He's gonna be a guy.
absolutely. All right, so now the NFL season's done. I think probably like later on down the line, we'll probably as it gets closer to the draft, we could talk about draft picks and start getting in there. But for now, we're gonna go into the NBA. Trade deadline came and went, and did that make you care more about the NBA?
No. Um,
Uh,
Well,
briefly,
no.
it made me care briefly. Here's my problem with the NBA, and I've said it 3 million times over. The NBA has too many divas. There's too many trades. It's too easy to build a super team. There's too. I mean, I'm not gonna say too many games. That's traditional. I get that, but it's like the NBA owners are out there playing 2K. It's like it's getting ridiculous. That's why I love football so much because like the how the cap is set up, it's like almost impossible to build a super team unless you do it like the Eagles did it and like just put good like guys who could work in the system and the positions to do it. But the NBA is just like, well, let's just spend a bunch of money to put LeBron, Steph Curry, James Harden, and whoever on a team, and that's going to be it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, oh, of course we're going to win a championship. And then the other guys are just like dead in the water. I can't stand the NBA, man.
But
I
to
don't
be
care about
to be fair, I mean, what was the last super team that was built and successful, meaning they won
It
a
would.
championship? It's been a while, right? I mean,
uh
you're getting
like
like,
10.
the Lakers got Luca and stuff, and there's some players that are moving around, but at the same time, it's like you don't have that, LeBron and Wade and Bosh, and you don't have these types of teams anymore. Like even, the Warriors aren't like that, you know.
That's fair. But they kind of are in a way. I
I
mean,
mean,
But they're not built together. Like they didn't. I mean, when they had Kevin Durant, I guess people could say that they were a super team, but they didn't like put different pieces together. It was always
yeah,
just like one player. Bray, what
yeah,
do you
no,
think?
I could agree.
I mean, obviously the 76er fan who has to put up with Joel Embiid and Paul George is going to talk about divas. So, like, if, but
You ain't gonna get
realistically,
me to argue with you about the Sixers because I hate them.
realistically, the state of the NBA has the greatest athletes it's ever seen. It has three top five scorers of all time: Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, LeBron James. Those are three top five scorers the game has ever seen. Um, coming out of the All Star break, which the All Star break, I get it. I get it was bad, but
Yeah.
I think the NBA is better than a lot of people put it out to be. But also, come July, go James getting a fifth one.
Well, I like the fact that
Oh,
you're
hope so.
happy about LeBron getting a championship, but I want you to kind of go back on what you said that why is the NBA better than people think?
Um, everybody talks like sure, there's some teams that are going to shoot a lot of threes. That's just kind of an aspect of the game that you're going to have to adapt to. But even then, like I watch the NBA games and I'm like, I don't see why it's getting so downplayed. Like there are bad teams. There's bad teams in the NFL when you watch the NFL. Don't watch the bad teams. You watch the good teams that are put on ESPN or TNT, and you see, okay, there's real talent here. This is why people are still into the NBA.
Okay. Dre, what do you think?
Well, I mean, right now, like from the trades that I've seen, I mean, it looks like these teams are going to be like set in the future. None of them are going to be set right now. Obviously, the game's at like a different pace, like Brady's been saying. Honestly, I like the fast break tempo. I've seen a lot of teams run this year. Like I like seeing OKC run in transition. I love seeing Brooklyn run in transition, Minnesota, those guys run in transit. Boston, I'm a Boston guy, but I'm looking at some of these trades. Some of them are they make sense. Some of them don't make sense. Okay, I'm just gonna go out there on a limb. The trade for Zach LaVine made no sense.
No sense.
Zach LaVine going to Sacramento made no sense
No sense. You're right. I agree.
because Chicago was already in a rebuild mode, and then they knew they were going to have to do it again with Lonzo Ball coming back off injury. So it just doesn't make any sense. Now, Marcus Smart and Chris Middleton going to the Wizards makes kind of sense because I know that they're tanking still to get Cooper Flag as the number one pick. So you add that to the mix as they trade away Kyle Kuzma. Decent team to work around if you get Jordan Poole right. Um, the ones that surprised me were Kyle Kuzma and Kevin Porter Jr. going to the Bucks. Now I think the Bucks actually have a shot at making a run at the title as they did for the cup which nobody really cares about. But I do think that adding those two guys to the rotation would have them in a nice position because I think they're fourth or fifth in the East right now. So they be doing some justice in the playoff run. And then the Luka trade, there was no real winner from that trade. There's no real winner.
I mean, we won.
I don't.
I
That's
mean,
buddy.
How did we,
I
how did
mean-
we lose that?
I mean,
Yeah, you didn't. But
bad.
the crazy thing is that you didn't lose, but you didn't win yet because Luka's only played what 2 games, 3.
He's played
Yeah,
a few and he's losing weight too, and he's had the best game of his Laker career last night.
Yeah, but the Luca did struggle the other day.
The struggle the other day. Yeah,
Well, he's been
he's
struggling,
off
but
and on games.
the last game he played, he had like 35 points.
Yeah, I think he had been out since Christmas Day. Also, don't hate on the NBA Cup. Come on now. The NBA Cup is a decent idea. Don't hate on it.
It's literally the worst idea
It's
they've
not.
ever
It's
had.
the worst
It's
idea.
so
Once again,
bad. It's
Once
so
again, it's
bad.
another thing. Why is it getting so much flack?
You don't
Because
think
no one,
because it doesn't do anything, bro.
it doesn't matter. No one's walking around like, yeah, we're the NBA Cup champions. The Lakers won it the first year. I never said
And
a
we hung
word
a
about it.
banner. We hung a banner.
I don't acknowledge the banner.
That
When it
is
happened, I didn't even
24
look at it. It's sad.
right? It's the 24. It's the hardcore championship. Don't give a
Yeah,
fuck.
exactly. Like, who
The
cares
speed,
about
it's the
this title?
speed championship, bro. That's what it is.
No one
Speed
cares.
championship.
Yeah.
Bray, you can like it all you want. I know you like the Lakers because of LeBron, but I'm an LA guy. No one in LA is happy about that
Nobody
NBA
cares,
Cup
bro.
championship.
Are you kidding me? I have an NBA Cup championship shirt right now.
Yeah. And what
Wow.
state? In what state do you live in?
Ohio.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
Anyways,
jeez.
so staying on topic here with the NBA, the one thing I've noticed is that the NBA isn't as packed with star power as it used to be. There isn't a lot of like household names. Like if you look at the top teams in the league, you got OKC, you got what's his name that fucking did that What a Girl Wants fucking commercial. Fucking remember the oh my god, what's his fucking name? It's not Chet. What's the other guy? I think or was it Chet? I don't know. But he did that commercial, and all I saw was people fucking giving this guy flack and talking about how lame he was. And you would think that back in the day when people were doing commercials like Barkley doing, I'm not a role model, and obviously Jordan and everything, Kobe, people actually gave a shit. Now these guys are just doing silly commercials. And OKC is like one of the best teams in the league. Look at Cleveland. Cleveland's only lost 10 games all year this year.
OKC's only lost 10 too, I think.
I think I lost like 11, but still, that's just as good. They're both
That's
really
right there.
having great seasons. But if it was like Golden State Warriors, doing it or anything like that, the Lakers, then everyone's talking about them. Not saying that no one's talking about Cleveland or OKC, but no one's got that same energy. What do you think, Dior?
I overall, like even like the players are not like household names like they used to be. Even like the top play, like I mean, I know like I said the other week, like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, like he's a great player. He's awesome. He's MVP frontrunner. But like, is he a household name? There are people who don't even know who that is. Everyone knows Jordan. Everyone knows James. Everyone knows, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's I agree there when you say the household name era is like gone. And the people do know the household names are older guys. If you look at it, the guys who are going to retire soon.
Yeah. And that's it kind of flipped over to the All-Star game. No one watched. I didn't watch, and that used to be my favorite weekend of sports. I loved All-Star weekend for NBA. It's always been my favorite. NFL was never good. NFL is kind of a little bit, I'll watch it here and there, it's different.
I like the pro games and the flag. That's cool.
But like with NBA, it used to just be, they'd have the celebrity games, and it was celebrities that not just streamers that most people have never even heard of. There was more meat to it, you know what I'm saying? But now it's just the ratings are down and it's bad. Dre, what do you think?
It's bad when Bailey's the most known person of celebrity basketball.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
I think that the household name thing, I mean, there's still a lot of household names, but I just don't think they get the recognition that they should be getting. Like, there's so many good guys out there in the NBA that are actually like balling on a nightly basis, and none of them really get the credit for it. One of them being Domantas Sabonis. Him, Evan Mobley, those are household name guys that are putting in work on a weekly basis, double guys every single night. None get talked about. Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington, those guys that are coming off the bench, the guys like Peyton Pritchard, the guys that are coming off the bench balling, these are household names that don't get talked about. But there's definitely still household names that are out there, but they're just, they're looked down
But
upon because it's
I
not
wouldn't
the
ask household names though, because like I feel like to
they
be a household name,
they are, but they haven't done anything to receive recognition of being a household name. They haven't won a chip. They haven't won an MVP. They're not the only people that we're looking at is the Kevin Durant's, the Steph Curry's, the
yeah,
LeBrons, the Kyries,
yeah,
but we're not picking out the other guys, the Halliburtons. We're not picking out the Franz Wagners. We're not picking out the other guys that haven't gotten those awards yet, but they're right there. They're right there in front of us, but we're not giving them credit because they haven't got the accolades for it yet.
they'll get
so
there. I think
Yeah, it'll be eventually.
Bray, what do you think? I mean, what can the NBA do to kind of like fix what's going on right now?
I mean, the All-Star game, I don't know what more you could do to it other than offer some sort of high stake prize to it, like people have talked about like a home court advantage for like a playoff series, or even raising up the cash prize. But even then, I feel like you're getting paid millions of dollars already. I feel
Yeah.
like, but when it comes to household names, like they were talking about on like First Take and stuff the other day, the NBA right now doesn't have a set guy to become the face of the league when LeBron James retires. Like, are you going to hang on and maybe say, oh, Steph has a few more years in him? Because, like, I don't know.
I think they'll retire kind of close to around the same time because I don't know how many more years Steph even wants to play.
They just said that they're gonna coach the Olympic team in 2028. Him and LeBron James are gonna be the coaches for the Olympic team.
So
That'd be
then
fire.
that's really fine. That's cool. I
they'll
like
both
that.
be done by that point then. So,
Yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure.
I've said LeBron probably has 2 or 3 more years left in
Who
him
knows,
anyways.
though?
So
LeBron's son comes in next season at USC. Who knows? Maybe he could get
Arizona, he's at Arizona.
Who?
Arizona. Maybe he gets to play Bryce, who I think was it's
Bryce,
always
I
been
think
better
is
than
better.
Bronny.
Yeah, I
Always
think
been
he's
better than
better.
Bronny. But also,
He's better than Bronny. Much better.
we're not going to hate on Bronny James. Once again, another thing for another day.
see,
But
You want to be the first white James, don't you, bro?
he wants to be adopted by LeBron. He's tried so hard.
That's my.
but
LeBron likes bacon. There's a spoiler alert for you. So
hey,
if you want to,
Luka might revitalize LeBron for a few years though. Keep that push.
LeBron's been playing good this whole season. He doesn't need Luka
Yeah, he's been
to
balling.
motivate him. He's going to motivate. It's going to be the other way around because Luka is going to need to get that motivation to mesh well with the LA team that he's trying to help push to a championship. We're the 4th seed, so we definitely have action in the playoffs. I wouldn't go as far as Shannon Sharp and start saying, we're going
Lakers
to
in
beat
5.
OKC, Lakers in 5. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
I'm not going to go that
I
far.
agree with him. I agree with him. Who does OKC have that's going to stop LeBron and Luka? I'll wait.
Like Dre said, there are a lot of trades that didn't make sense. This trade didn't make any sense for anybody. It made no sense for the Lakers. It made no sense for the Mavs. It made no sense for anybody because the Mavs didn't really need AD and the Lakers didn't need Luka. I mean, it just doesn't. It just makes them more of a super team than they already are, even though it's not really a super team. But putting those two guys on that team in that jersey, that's
not.
Who authorized that? We got to talk to somebody.
To me, a Super Bowl team. I'm sorry, I still got football in my mind. My bad. To me, a super team is at least 3 guys that are the main superstars. To me, it's 3. 2, you're getting there, but 3rd, that's a super fucking team.
I think if you have 2 superstars and 3 dudes who can just be good, not even great, that's a super team to me.
We can't consider the Lakers a super team until Jackson Hayes isn't the starting center for them.
Yeah.
You got me, dude. You got me.
All right. So basically, you guys aren't really watching that much of the NBA. That didn't help the trade deadline. It didn't get you guys excited. It got you guys good for a few days, a week or so.
My team didn't make no moves.
Yeah.
Are you a Celtics fan? Because you mentioned you're a Boston.
No, Celtics fan, 9 years.
So you just said fuck 76ers. I'm not riding with them.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. They're a tough team to
I'm not gonna
support.
come over with you, bro. I'm about sick of it.
They've lost
Bro,
me. They've
bro,
lost me a
I
few
was an
bucks through
Allen
the
Iverson
years.
fan like my whole
Yeah,
childhood, and then
dude, I
after
mean,
that, it
that's
was
for
Yeah,
me.
he's one of my favorite players. It's AI, hands down.
In the era of Iverson and McNabb, it was just like it was Eagles
different times.
Sixers all day long. You know what I'm saying?
Different
But
times.
and then even moving into like the new era, you know what I'm saying? And then when Embiid first got there and Ben Simmons and all that, I was sold, but the process failed. It needs to start again if you're gonna, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Joel needs to go. PG's washed up. Everything. The only thing you have is Tyrese Maxey. It's just like it's
yeah.
ridiculous. I don't want to see it anymore. I'm done.
I've told people if you're upset about the Eagles fans talking all this shit about winning the Super Bowl, just bring up the NBA and see how excited they are when they talk
Yeah.
about the Sixers. All right. So anyway, so we're going to be moving on. Next, we're going to talk about Bray's favorite sport, boxing. With the Canelo Crawford fight being canceled, what changes does boxing need to make to keep fans interested in the sport? And we'll start with Bray on this topic.
Well, boxing's a dying sport. It has been since as long as I've been alive, and probably longer than that. I'm pretty sure last year the most viewed boxing fight was Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. Yeah, boxing's a dying sport, and I think at the rate the UFC is growing, I don't see. Boxing's going to need to do something fast, but even then, like what you have no guys for Tank. Bud, Terrence Crawford and Canelo's like 50-50 in the air at this point. It just depends on when they want to give us that 12-round snooze fest. But it is what it is. I think boxing's trash. It always has been. The only boxing fight I've been interested in ever was Fury and Wilder.
Okay. Dre, what do you think?
So I think boxing is kind of fucked right now. Excuse my language.
No,
And
you
it's
could
because of the
cuss.
it's because of the promoters too. The top ranks and the others like promotions that they're running, like De La Hoya and everybody. It's they're so scuffed, bro. Like they're so schemy that like they're ripping away boxing, bro. They're ripping away some of the best fights we possibly can have right now. Tank won't fight Crawford because he doesn't want to go up in weight and he doesn't want to have to use a weight restriction clause, and that's exactly what he did against Ryan Garcia. These are the guys. Devin Haney did the same thing against Ryan Garcia. There was a weight restriction clause, and that's why these fights aren't as good as we think they are because they have to go up in weight and they can't just stay at the weight. It's bro, it's such a struggle. Boxing has been a struggle to watch because I literally love boxing. Love boxing. I have so many favorite boxers, and to see it all getting ripped away by promoters, it pisses me off.
Dior?
Yeah, I mean, I love boxing too. Boxing is chess, and UFC to me is checkers. Um, but at the end of the day, a fight like Canelo versus Crawford is something that is going to bring a lot of money, bring a lot of attention. You up and cancel it, you know what I'm saying? So now people are skeptical about the sport. I'm going to bring this up. Jake Paul called himself the future of boxing. I agree. And the reason I agree is because I believe that the new standard of boxing is going to be fights like Paul versus Tyson and cards like that. And they're going to start making boxing like WWE because I think that's the only way out. Make it, like this spectacle where there's like almost like characters and you have these novelty fights that like, you know what I'm saying? I think that that's kind of the new standard. And I think that the face of boxing, I think Jake Paul is going to save boxing, but he's going to kill it at the same time. He's going to make it something completely different. Mark my words, in a year or two, I think he's going to be the biggest boxing promoter in the world, as well as one of the biggest boxers in the world. And his new template for boxing is going to end up being what it becomes. Because as it stands right now, Bray's correct. UFC is going to take over boxing. More people are watching WWE than they're watching boxing right now. So,
See, here's the thing. And Bray, did you want to say something from what Dior was saying?
No, I did want to hit back on another. There's only two fights that I'd really be interested in. Is if when Garcia fights, I think he has a fight coming up in March or April. When he fights, if he's to win, give me Tank and him in a rematch. That's the only that match and Crawford and Canelo are the only two matches you could make to make me sit down and watch boxing.
See,
I don't know, dude. There's a couple out there, bro.
young boys don't have the attention span for boxing. That's what it
I
is.
don't know, dude.
Yeah.
Have you watched Shakur Stevenson, bro? Like he's
That
one
guy's
of them.
terrible. That guy's
Jared,
ass.
Well, he had that last bad fight, but usually most of his fights, bro, he's dogging people. Jerome Boots Ennis,
Okay.
he's always
So
dogging people.
if
The best
you
boxer in the world is highly regarded as Floyd Mayweather.
on
When you watch
on
Mayweather's fights, his fights are boring, but that's because boxing, like I said, is
How
chess.
you win?
And defense more than you're playing offense. That's the point.
with you bring up Shakur, but like he fought a guy on short notice who was doing electrician work 2 days before the fight.
Yeah, but those guys have to stay active because they're
And so
on call. Those are the guys that are on call, so they have to stay active. Shakur trained for somebody for 8 weeks straight and has to fight a different guy on a day's notice. That's not going to be a good look
but
on
like
anybody.
it's a guy who's not even doing boxing work. He's out there hanging fucking wires on a fucking pole. He's out there hanging wires like a local telephone pole.
Look,
Hanging
everybody,
wires.
look, bro, hold up, because you're not about to disrespect electricians, because I used to be one too, bro. So you're not about to sit up here and disrespect that, bro. That is
Yeah.
not no easy fucking work.
But
It's not no easy work.
If it took a guy who's regarded as a good boxer 9 rounds to beat that guy who's coming in on 2 days notice, he's not good.
Dude, hold up, because if you want to take it to UFC terms, I remember I watched Al Iaquinta take Khabib 5 rounds, and he actually
Well,
scored strikes on Khabib, even though Khabib won on a
different
day,
story for a different day.
on a day notice.
I think Khabib's ass, but I also don't
Me
think
too.
John Jones is the GOAT that people fucking like to say.
He is.
Oh,
He
hey,
is.
He's not.
hey,
He is.
he relax. Cut it out. Yes, he is.
John
Sure,
Jones.
well,
That-
sure.
That's
Until he fights, until he stops being scared and ducking Tom Aspinall, then
Stop it. Stop.
So look, as you guys know, I'm an old head. I'm 50 years old. I remember back in my day,
Never
they used
said
to
that.
have top ranked boxing Friday night fights. They used to have like George Foreman on like USA Network when USA used to do the fights. And they would have more of a heavyweight division back when I was really watching when I was younger than they have it now. And to me, boxing has always been the same. It's never changed. It's just how many matchups, how many fights can be out there. You know, Don King used to run, all of boxing before. And you'd have guys like Mitch Blood Green. He fought Mike Tyson like literally, and Mike beat that
I
ass
remember he beat
outside
that ass
of
up.
the ring and inside of the ring. And in Bray, if you don't know who that is, just look on YouTube. It's fucking hilarious.
He's some blood gang member from Detroit, bro.
Right. It just that's what I miss. Bring that shit back. We need the gang members back in boxing.
I'll say like kind of talking to like how we talked about the NBA and household names. There's no household names in boxing anymore.
That's
like,
what it is. Yeah.
Think about the name. I mean, back in the day, you could name 10 boxers easy off the bat if you don't watch the sport, and even if you didn't watch it, if you don't watch
Yeah.
it, you can't name 10 boxers off the bat.
Because
Yeah,
back
only
in the
people that
day,
actually watch it, you can. Only people that watch it can.
But if you
back in the
don't,
day,
you're going on Google.
there was, a heavyweight division where you would have like, obviously Holyfield, but then you'd have like Michael Moore, you'd have Riddick Bowe,
Shannon
you'd have
Briggs.
yeah.
I can name 10 boxers from each weight class
Yeah.
back then. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
And it's not like
Yeah.
that now, and I don't think that's the sport. I just think we're in an era now where it's changed and you have the influencer fights and
Yep.
it's entertaining a different younger demographic and not really going to the old head guys like me, even though I'm an old head that appreciates, if KSI wants to fight Jake Paul or something like that,
Yep.
just random dumb shit. I'll watch it. I'm entertained. Like, fuck it, why not? So
And that's why I said that I think that's going to be the new formula of boxing. I think that it's going to turn into those type of cards. That's going to keep boxing afloat because they almost kind of have to like go back to the old school and bring names like if fucking Muhammad Ali was still alive, they'd try to get him to fight. You know what I'm saying? They're going to have to dig back into the archives to like make people care about it anymore because no one gives a fuck about this new stuff.
if they brought Muhammad Ali back, that'd be a shaky decision. But look, I'll say this because we got about 3 minutes left. I used to be a big UFC fan. Like I still like UFC, but I was huge back in like the Rampage and Chuck Liddell era, and they had nonstop bangers. Like if you go through that era and just look at the card, the Tito Ortiz fights, and just everybody during that time, they were all names. The fights were great. I used to have people over Saturday night, barbecue. It's not the same with that for me either. There's a couple names. I mean, sure, there's some like other names that aren't again, it's kind of like the theme of the day, household names. There's some like that are like that, but you're not going to sell a lot of tickets with a guy that, oh, this guy's great. Like Noah named off all these different NBA players, and it sounded like you named off 5 plumbers in Philadelphia. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like
He
no one
did.
knows unless you're a hardcore like
Unless you're a
NBA guy.
hardcore fan, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like
Yeah.
you want to get like the outside fans. The same thing like with wrestling. You have the indie wrestlers. They're great, but no one knows who they are outside of that until they become famous. And everyone, pretends they're a New Japan fan. Oh, we got Hasanoa Tosawa. Yo, who? Yeah, who? You don't know who he is? He's a household name in Japan. Like, okay, cool.
Yo.
I'm like, all right.
I mean,
That and $1 will get you on the bus. But let me say there's 2 minutes
Oh
left.
my
2 minutes left. Final thoughts on everything we talked about. We'll go around. Bray, you start it up. Keep it like 30 seconds.
The Super Bowl sucked. The NBA is better than what people think it is. Boxing's a fucking disaster show, no matter how you spit it. And Bo Nix for MVP next season.
I like the last part. All right, Dior.
Super Bowl was awesome. Fuck you, Bray. Happy we got those guys out of there. Really looking forward to see where everyone gets drafted to. I didn't say that earlier. Really looking forward to that. Basketball. Hey man, it's basketball. At the end of the day, it's going to be what it is. I mean, it's great. They have high level talent, but it does need that household name, that feel that it used to have. Same thing with boxing. And like I said, give it a few years. I think Jake Paul is going to end up being the biggest promoter in boxing.
There you
Mark
go.
my word.
All right, Dre. We got less than a minute.
All right, so if Canelo wants to get slept, Crawford to beat that ass. Shout out to the Eagles for getting that dub. Celtics is going back to back, and since it's spring training, those fucking Yanks.
Get that out of
Oh
here.
my
Fucking
God.
Yanks.
We're ending the show right on time. Thank you guys for watching. Check the socials and the details. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you on the next one. Have a great rest of your day.